So on the 7th of April, the world will be celebrating World Health Day. If we think about the Instagram vision of health, it means that if someone is healthy, they are focusing on their nutrition, they're focusing on exercise. But we want to talk about wellness that speaks to not only the physical well-being of the patient, but also the emotional, the mental, and the social well-being of a person. Welcome to Fill in the Blanks podcast. I'm Ilani Creel, your host, and today we're going to chat about whole person wellness beyond the body. So on the 7th of April, the world will be celebrating World Health Day. When you Google health, you'll find a variety of articles on smoothies, nutrition, gym programs, and although there's nothing wrong with that, that really only speaks to the physical well-being of a person. What we want to talk about today is whole person wellness, which speaks to something a little bit different. So in this episode, we're going to redefine what wellness actually means. We're going to discuss the 4 pillars of well-being, and we're going to discuss what does well-being actually mean in the context of illness. So when we think about body health, we might think that when there's a lack of an illness, we have a healthy body and that means wellness. Or if we have an illness or a diagnosis, that means that we are unwell. I want to tell you a story when I was working as a social worker in neurorehabilitation. There was a quadriplegic, let's call him David. So by medical standards, David was unwell. He was completely dependent on others for all activities of daily living. He was not able to regulate his own temperature. He needed help to move around in his wheelchair. By medical standards, that would mean that David was unwell. But David was one of the most well patients that I've ever seen. He was wholesome. He had passion. He had wholesome relationships. He had a sense of purpose. So meaning his body, in the medical terms, wasn't well according to society, but he was actually well according to the 4 pillars of wellness that we're going to chat about. So let's redefine wellness. Wellness doesn't just mean that we have a healthy body. If we think about the Instagram vision of health, it means that, someone is healthy. They are focusing on their nutrition. They're focusing on exercise. But that is not what we want to talk about. We want to talk about wellness that speaks to not only the physical well-being of the patient, but also the emotional, the mental, and the social well-being of a person. So what does this mean to you in the context of supporting a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia, being the spouse of someone who just sustained a stroke, or having a loved one that is in the end stage of cancer? So I'd like to unpack the 4 pillars of wellness. So when we think about our physical health, it speaks to our nutrition, it speaks to our movement, it speaks to the general health of our bodies. But that might look different to a patient that sustained a stroke. For a patient who sustained a stroke, physical health might mean assistance with positioning him properly for eating. For a palliative patient, someone with end-of-life cancer, that might mean focusing on quality of life, pain management, and ensuring that they are as comfortable as possible. So physical health looks a little bit different, defining it for someone with a chronic or end-life disease than a normal person. When we think about mental or cognitive health. That speaks about cognitive stimulation. That speaks about our mental capacity, our thinking skills. For a normal person, that might look like ensuring that we stimulate our brains, we're doing puzzles, we are engaging in activities that stimulate our brains. For someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, that might look like ensuring that they follow a structured daily routine. For someone who sustained a stroke, that might mean introducing cognitive exercises to promote their cognitive well-being. If we think about emotional well-being, now this is an interesting one. Emotional well-being means that we give ourselves and our loved ones permission to feel uncomfortable feelings. Oftentimes, emotional well-being, people think it looks like we don't feel negative emotions, we're coping with things fine. You think about words like, I'm fine. But actually, emotional well-being means that we give space, we create room for someone to actually feel their feelings. And then social well-being is an extremely important pillar. So social well-being speaks to being connected to our communities, being integrated in our families, engaging with people in and around our communities. They actually say that social isolation is more harmful than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So from a creel care and a home-based care perspective, we address each and every single one of these pillars in home-based care. We assist patients with physical activities to promote their physical well-being, to keep them as strong as possible, to promote movement for circulation, to keep them as healthy as possible. From a mental perspective, we engage them with mental activities, we have a chat to them, we make sure that they are using their mental capacities to stay as strong as possible. From an emotional perspective, we create room from creel care for people to actually feel their feelings. And this is for patients and family members. And then from a social perspective, oftentimes the care partner is the only meaningful connection that a patient might have. So we really make a point to engage a patient, to have a chat to them, to make sure that we listen to their stories and we create a sense of belonging for them. So what does wellness mean in the context of illness? If we think about a patient with Parkinson's disease, let's call her Maria. So Maria is not physically independent anymore. She has difficulty with walking and mobilizing. She has difficulty with bringing a cup from her lap up to drink. She has difficulty with cutting her food and eating it. What does wellness mean to someone like Maria? That might mean that a care partner can assist Maria to get out of bed in the morning, go and sit in her favorite chair to look out the window at the little birds. Physically, that might mean that the care partner can assist her with bathing, dressing, and grooming to facilitate and promote dignity and quality of life. Emotionally, that might mean that the care partner can engage Maria, can video call relatives that are overseas, and that can create an emotional, safe space for Maria. Socially, the care partner can assist Maria to engage with her outside world, whether that is to go for a cup of coffee or to facilitate visitors visiting her. So in the context of illness, a patient can still experience wellness. And that is extremely important to understand. That wellness doesn't mean the absence of illness. Wellness means that it might look different when we promote dignity and quality of life. So I hope in this episode that we could redefine what wellness actually means. That wellness isn't the lack of illness, that wellness isn't something that's in the absence of illness, but that wellness can look different for patients that have illnesses and diseases, for family members that are caring for patients, and that we don't subscribe to the Instagram version of health. During our next episode, we're going to unpack the practical elements that we can put in place to promote wellness in the home environment. This is Ilani, your host for Fill in the Blanks podcast. Catch us same time, same place next week.